Hello, everybody, and welcome to Haunted Sponge Definitely Solves Hunt-A-Killer, Season 2, Episode 5. I am your host, Will Rogers, aka @HauntedSponge, all over the internet. And right here in front of me, I have the contents of, what would this be? The 13th, 14th, something like that episode of Hunt-A-Killer. And what do I think about it? What do I think is heating up in the world of John William James? Well, something. I think that there's literally something, a conflict boiling at the surface, and I think that there's blood on the way. There will be blood. Before we get started with this, I want to point out a few things from the world of creepy stuff, from the world of Hunt-A-Killer, frankly, because a lot of people online noticed something. I don't know how everybody figured this out in the first place, but apparently Hunt-A-Killer has a brand new project in the works called Empty Faces. Are you guys familiar with this? If you're watching live, throw it in the chat. I'm going to try to find the page for it right now, actually. Empty Faces subscription box. I saw people freaking out about it, and I started freaking out about it a little bit. Oh, did they take the URL down? Don't tell me they did that. No, okay, it just took a moment to load. Take a look at this. Empty Faces, a great evil has found you. The scariest subscription box I've ever opened. Welcome to Empty Faces, an immersive paranormal investigation where everything rests on your shoulders. See if you qualify. Pre-sales close in -1 days. What people found was this website owned and operated by Hunt-A-Killer. See, up here? From the creators of Hunt-A-Killer, the fastest growing subscription. It's kind of a placeholder. You can't have a countdown for -1 days, or I don't know. Something about this obviously does not add up. This is something on the horizon. And I just want to let you guys that I know about it too, and I will be watching intently. All things willing, the founders be willing, your old buddy Willie will be jumping into Empty Faces the second it launches. I will be there. Another awesome thing, I don't know, you guys, if you're not tuned into the Hunt-A-Killer podcast Behind True Crime, hosted by CWS, it is amazing. It's literally about the world of true crime. CWS has interviews with amazing people. The most recent episode is with Joe Berlinger, who directed the Paradise Lost trilogy, about the West Memphis 3, I always get the name wrong, who were falsely accused of a crime, and his documentary was essential in proving their innocence. Anyway, it's already an amazing podcast, made even better by the fact that this episode here, Get to Know Your Host, an after-school special, is hosted by someone familiar. No, it's not me, but it's someone very close to me. My own sister, Kristen Rogers Anderson, at Chillin Kristen on Twitter, got to do this episode with CWS where they basically sat down and just got to talk about their love of true crime, what got CWS interested in it in the first place. It is a really funny episode, and I know I'm biased, but I think it's great. Let's pick a random moment. This is a real gamble, by the way. This may not pay off. Let's pick a random moment here and just listen to something for a couple of seconds and see what happens. And you saw that. Really, I'm rolling the roulette wheel here. I don't know what we're going to find.
It's important to believe people who make accusations. I'm not trying to draw a line here, but also kids, right? I mean, Come on. So this story was just so, I think that it just created this hysteria, for lack of a better term, and it just, I saw this like microcosm, right, as a kid of what can happen when we let fear kind of get the best of us. And so my interest in true crime kind of is more almost sociological than it is in like the, you know, a lot of people are like, oh, you like true crime? That's so weird. You just like look at like crime scene photos and like, I'm like, no, I don't just look at crime scene photos. Like, thank you. Like, I think you know me. Like, I don't sit there. Yeah. You know, I'm interested in really how crime and how these big events that are dramatic and are scary then like alter specifically like the consciousness in the United States or wherever. And so I think that was just the earliest example of sometimes things aren't as they seem, which is kind of the true crime, what true crime does. Because it doesn't, of course, we go over cases sometimes that have been solved and we're okay with them, the way that they ended up and blah, blah, blah. But a lot of true crime, right, is finding the truth when the police or the media or whomever won't, or haven't been able to, or we're not finding their results satisfactory. So,
totally.
Yeah. And so I guess, like, after that, I just, I was interested in, I remember in middle school, I was so interested in John Wayne Gacy's prison art. I was a strange child. Child.
Yeah. I mean, you're fully speaking my language. I was like that too. Have you ever seen that in person, by the way?
Yes, at the Museum of Death in LA. I have.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I saw it at, I think it was like the museum, which I think is closed now. I think it was like the Museum of Crime or something in DC. And they had a bunch of it there. And yeah, it's wild to.
Bam. Behind True Crime with CWS. This episode, get to know your host, an after-school special, also starring my sister at Chillin, Kristen. You know her from Book Club, Schmook Club. You also know her from Guide to the Unknown. On Friday, literally, 3 days ago, my sister Kristen and I launched a brand new podcast, Guide to the Unknown, with, count 'em, 5, 4, 3. If I could scroll, you'd see 2 and 1 in there. We released 5 episodes all at the same time on Friday. It's a horror comedy show where we talk about monsters. Literally, Kristen and I sit down each week, and each of us tells the other about a legendary creature, an urban legend. I literally sat and read a creepypasta on one of the shows. It comes out every Friday, and it's out there right now. You can get it on YouTube. If you go to talkbomb.com/GTTUpod, you can get it on YouTube, listen to it, find links for Stitcher, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Google Play Music, all of our Twitter links, and let's do the same thing here. I'm going to pick a random scroll of the moment here. It's also a video show. Let's see what we're talking about around here.
We always said he was stingy, bad, or we never said he was smart.
That is stingy.
I shall place it in a turnip.
Yeah. I'm not going to give up any of my precious coins for a lantern.
Well, maybe he's no fool.
Maybe.
Another plus side, fresh cooked turnip.
How scary was that? A fresh cooked turnip joke of some sort. I literally don't remember saying that. I have no idea what the context of that was.
Him up on wires.
Jeeper? Yeah.
Jeepers. And it's obviously because they're doing wire work because he's supposed to be able to fly.
Oh, I saw this.
Yeah, and I commented, I said, this movie looks like shit. I can see the wires. Yeah. Someone commented and said, like, yeah, no wonder you can see the wires. It's not from the movie, you idiot. Like, oh. Oh, you got me.
You've got me there.
Oh, man, I feel...
All right, a little horror talk, talking about Jeepers Creepers, but mostly it's monster talk. We've got the Boogeyman, the Mothman, Wendigos, mermaids. Trust me, there's a weird mermaid thing. Weird New Jersey legends. Anyway, that's Guide to the Unknown, available right now, 5 episodes, another one coming out on Friday. Right there. Okay. It's time for Hunt-A-Killer. I'm going to take a special thing that we got in this month's box. Spoiler alert, Season 2, Episode 5. Here we go. We've got our Divine Ratio necklace, pendant, and I'm going to store it right here in this box, this amazing box that I got from our dear Hunt-A-Killer friend, Charles Goss. Or, more specifically, Charles Goss's wife, who I believe had to sit and actually make this. Thank you so much, you guys. Charles, tell me where I can point people to get one of these of their own in the comments there. Anyway, here we go. We're going to dig into the next Hunt-A-Killer box right now. So, I'm gonna do it this way. I think that there's a story of brewing. We're at the penultimate episode of Season 2, and I think that there is something heating up between Aaron DeVille, one of the disciples of John William James, and John William James himself. We know from previous boxes, I believe it was Season 2, Episode 3, that Aaron DeVale had a choice to make. He had 3 potential victims. He had to decide which one to dispatch. Last time, it was all about trying to figure out what choice he would make. John William James had been very concerned that he would make the wrong choice. Aaron DeVale insisted that he knew what he wanted to do. Now, last time, I was trying to solve a cipher, and I solved it incorrectly. And because I solved it incorrectly, I got a different result than what was intended. It was a message that said something about how the old dogs, I thought what it said was the dogs or the wolves are the old gods. So I thought it was something about praising this concept of the canine. We've got, constellations of wolves and stuff. So that seemed to make sense to me. But on a closer inspection, it actually was the dogs ate the old gods. And that changes the meaning entirely. So you may have seen, I posted in a few comments around places, I had a revelation. I thought it meant something different. A few weeks ago, I realized if the dogs ate the old gods, well, who's the old god? Could it be the dragon swan? Maybe Aaron DeVale was saying he had made his choice, and his choice was to kill John William James. I opened this box expecting to see maybe the aftermath of that. Maybe a John William James in suffering after an attack by Aaron DeVale. I didn't think that Aaron DeVale would just flat out be able to kill him easily. But instead what we got, this Aaron DeVale letter, is odd. He's essentially making the case for why he killed who he killed. There has been a murder, and it is not the person that I thought it was. I can actually say that with 2 different meanings, because no, he did not kill John William James. He did kill one of the 3 people he claimed that he wanted to kill, but it was not the person that I thought he would have selected. So why don't we take a look at, let's take a look at this. This is one of the potential victims, Catherine Hill from Pikes Peak Animal Supply. The next one was Clarissa Hatherley, lives with boyfriend, they fight often, saw her kick a pigeon, hunt a killer with their pigeon kicking. And then the third was this guy, John, 49. He spends summers with his wife and 3 kids in a cottage in Martha's Vineyard. Now, I believe, if I remember myself properly, I believe I said that he was going to go after this woman because of his love of dogs, his obsession with dogs, I should say. Well, I was wrong on that count as well, because you see, he went after John. This is literally from the Aaron DeVale letter this month, season 2, episode 5. John was, by most all accounts, a good man. People put him on a pedestal. They viewed him as a role model. This, of course, was problematic. It is the corruption and complacency of society that worships such unchecked consumerism and greed. His entire life is devoted to money. He flies his entire family halfway across the country and back just to spend a few weeks in a house that he owns that stays empty the rest of the year. Some see this as a success, and that is something I cannot abide. That is why I buried him in the pig's eye near the Garden of the Gods. Ladies and gentlemen, I implore you, the pig's eye. Colorado. Here it is. Pig's Eye, tourist attraction in Colorado Springs, Colorado. Let's take a look at this map here. It may look familiar. This is the Garden of the Gods, which we had been obsessed with but a couple of episodes ago. And you can see right up here, right around what, it almost looks like a peak just off to the side. This is the burial place of John, a family man who just wanted to spend some time at his home in Martha's Vineyard, killed by Aaron DeVale. Well, it doesn't stop there, because as much as I was wrong, I'm also right. Listen to this. Who? John was part of the mechanism that keeps the machines of avarice operating. As long as there are Johns revered in this way, there will be more who aspire to join them. To destroy the monster, I must rip out its hearts. John was one. There are others. There will be none. That is why I buried him in the pig's eye, blah, 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 blah. There are other Johns that are revered in this way? My God, sir! Could you be referring to the man who assembled us here for this murder dinner party, John William James? Aaron DeVale is indeed gunning for the big guy. John William James, watch your back, buddy. That, I think, is the Aaron DeVale story for now. I don't know what else to do with that at this point. Maybe we'll have some insight into it based on another clue from this week. I don't know. Why don't we do this? Why don't I just lay all my cards on the table, so to speak, and then we'll do some bizarre experimentation with some of the other clues that are in here. John William James's letter is filled with a bunch of Latin this time. We've been working a lot with Latin these past few months. Qua resurgent ex favilla, judicandis homo reus. My mother once read me those words. Well, I translated those words, ladies and gentlemen. Take a look at this. Qua resurgent ex favilla judicandus homo reus. We're going to go ahead and pop that and say that it is Latin. So some of this didn't make a ton of sense to me, to be honest. But if you take a look here, qua resurgent ex favilla, I don't know how to pronounce these words, obviously, judicandus homo reus, which will be raised from the burning coals, man accused to be judged. Sounds like the kind of thing that John William James would be into. Obviously, there's a lot of judgment going on in the world of Hunt-A-Killer in general. Talaria, whether or not they're the cult itself or just the organization that does some of John William James's correspondence, is big on picking people. Who deserves to be transformed, quote unquote. So it's interesting and yet totally in keeping with everything we know for this to be the beginning of the letter. John William James seems to be getting a bit full of himself, I think. It seems like the kind of thing that I might expect narratively before a fall. I am a king among gods, and my followers agree. Are you at all surprised there are others? He is, of course, referring to this list of, I don't know what we're going to call them. Is it Dragon Swan members? You know, they seem to be worshiping the Dragon Swan, honoring him. The light and dark sides of their personality are referred to as the Dragon side and the Swan side. What is their name? Are they Talaria? I'm getting ahead of myself. Are you surprised there are others? Perhaps that seems odd if you believed that ours was the only relationship I courted. No, there are many others, and each has amended their own name to my list, my army, my Thebes. He is getting pretty, I don't know, bloated at this point. I feel like he's sort of begging for some sort of mutiny at this point. Maybe Aaron DeVale was inevitable. Maybe there was always going to be somebody that would eventually rise up to try to challenge the leader, whoever he is. But this certainly seems like language that suggests, of course it would be now. He has spent so much time living in the Darlington Listening Friends of America facility. Now he's out on his own, assembling an army, he wants to call it, and describing himself as a king among gods. Look out, John William James. It's lonely at the top, and I think he may already know that. This list of members, I went through it. There's not much that jumped out at me that made me think, oh, this is a thing to be deciphered. It really seems like reference information. The most interesting piece of it is that there is a listing for Cleo Sullivan of Chattanooga, Tennessee, who is the only person listed as deceased. You know what's interesting about this? And I'm not saying that this is correct, but I'm just saying that it's worth acknowledging. Status. This status bar. We have everyone's names and locations, whatever. Status. Active, deceased for Cleo. They don't say alive deceased. They say active deceased. Is deceased a metaphor? Is it possible that they're saying because she is in jail, she's been arrested, that she is dead to them in some way? I don't think that that's true, but it's just, I don't know. I was making a basic assumption when I saw active deceased that it was alive deceased, but it's not explicitly that. I do believe it means that she's dead, for the record, but it's just an interesting distinction to make. The only other thing that pops out to me, and who already said it? Somebody said it here. Jess Stokes, hey, already pointed it out. Entry number 4, Tina Reed is in Darlington, Maryland, and she is active. Darlington, Maryland, of course, we know. It's where we started. Listening Friends of America, the very facility that John William James had been in. You know what would be an interesting thing to do? Take a look at the Listening Friends of America Facebook page. Try to see if we can get some idea of the locations of the other facilities and see how many of them correspond with this. Is there any chance that maybe the majority of them are based within Listening Friends of America? That Listening Friends of America itself as an organization is completely corrupt and may be essentially a cult at this point? I don't know. Oh, another one too, Jess? Which one? Do you happen to know? You also had a good theory about the whispers from... Oh, I'm sorry. The whispers from Theodorus letter. Well, I'll be getting to that, but quick. So start typing your theory because I'm going to want to hear it. Athens, Georgia. Jonah Freeman. Interesting. I wonder if there are more. I wonder if there are more Listening Friends of America facilities that have Dragon Swan members at the wheel. I don't know. What to do? I guess let's do the whispers from Theodorus now. Yeah, let's do it now. Okay. Every month, we have a code word that we can access a letter on the website Whispers from Theodorus with. So this time it is Lacrimosa. In the context of the letter, time can open our eyes or it can close them. Lacrimosa. Right here. So if you click this, you're brought to a page where it asks you for a password. What you have to do is type in the word into Google Translate, take the password. I don't know if the capital will screw it up. Yeah, it did. So we'll fix that, and we're in. Now watch this. I don't know about you guys. The second I started to read this letter, I legitimately got a bit of a chill down my spine. It felt to me like something was wrong, and, well, that was the right impulse. Let's take a look at this. Lacrimosa. Historian. Hey, my initial impulse was not drunk, though that's not impossible, I don't think. My initial impulse was bleeding out. Desperation. Some form of agony. But as we go on, I don't know. It really feels like altered state of mind more than anything. How have you beneath late? This is not I'm. There rests on you the secret of our work together. Dear historian, how have you been of late? 3 is no time. 3 rests on you the secret of our work. Time will tell you. He's struggling. He's beginning the letter and then abandoning it. He says, historian, how have you been? I think it's supposed to be, I'm going to read it the way I believe it's meant to be read, and I could be wrong about this, but historian. Maybe it starts multiple times. He starts to write to us here, and perhaps of sound mind because it's written properly. Something goes wrong. He comes back to write to us, forgetting he already started. Historian, how have you been of late? This is not, I thought this might have been me. Or, this is not, and then something goes even worse, and he tries to start a new sentence. How is this written? Is this a stenographer? Is he typing this? Why would you type in this sort of odd staccato, stopping and starting, repeating yourself way? It feels like it's doing like text to speak, or like he has somebody very, very literal who is typing for him and he's dictating what to write to the historian. I don't know. We do know that he does not like modern technology from season 1, so maybe it would stand to reason that he has somebody from Talaria that he, I don't know, works through. That makes a certain amount of sense to me. Either way, he says, there rests on you the secret of our work together. And then he starts again. Another new beginning to it. Dear historian, how have you been of late? 3 is no time. There rests on you the secret of our work together. Time will tell you the codes true. Time repeats itself. Now, the way this is written, T-Y-E-M. I'm going to call this time. Time. Repletes its shelf, and language shifts. Lie. Or is it language shifts like digits? Like numbers? There's a hidden 3 up here. Are there secret digits in here? Of sin. Laughed to dust, laughed to dust. Time will tell you the code is true. Time repeats itself, leaf. And the language, I believe this is supposed to be, shifts like digits of sand. Left to dust. Left to dust. The list of my following grows, clean sentence, with every passing day. They are all I need. They are all I need with my vision. Did I get disconnected? Am I connected, you guys? Hey, you guys, did I get disconnected there? Sorry about that. My system just told me that I was booted out. They're all I need with my vision. They are all in with my path. From the beginning, I was given direction. I was given direction. The golden ray in radio, golden ratio, necklace. The list of my following grows with every passing day. They are aligned with my vision. They are aligned with my path. From the beginning, I was given doctrine. Doctrine. The golden ratio. The golden ratio. What is happening to him? Is it the fact that we know that he was obviously in some form of an institution for a long time. Is this the rare time that we're seeing him made vulnerable by whatever condition he has? We know from season 1 that he had been tested and that he had not passed those tests, sort of cognition tests, right? And he did not pass them at all. Is this the rare occasion that we're seeing what happens to him sometimes, or did he take something? Did someone slip something to him? Is he hurt? Is he calling out for help? Obviously, he seems to be telling us to use. I'm gonna take my Goss box here. To use the golden ratio necklace that we have, but to what end? What does he want us to do? Well, I have a theory. I don't know for sure. I definitely don't know for sure. And before I do the weird thing I'm going to do, because we are now at the point where I'm going to do something on the show that, for most people out there watching, they may not be interested to see me fumble around, with shapes and symbols and trying to decode something, which may take a little while. I'm going to take a look at the chat. And thank you guys so much for tuning in. I want to read, Jess, where did you post your theory about the note? Let me see. Disowned. This sort of repeating type of versing might be from a dictation type of app, and John William James may be held against his will in a cave or other echoing enclosure. That is very interesting. That is a very cool interpretation of our work together. That could be from the sound of him speaking echoing against the walls. What a cool thing. Why though? I think that may be spot on, but I don't understand why the crazy misspellings. Does he have the worst dragon type to text program of all time? He needs to update his drivers. These two words, der Historien. How have you been of late? Some of these words are correct, some are not. It either feels like it's completely intentional. He wants us to think all jumbled up. He wants us to think all mixed together so that we can decode something by unscrambling the words. Or it feels like he is poisoned or bleeding out. I just don't know. But that is an awesome idea. I love the echo idea. That is one of those things that just, when you think about it, it kind of clicks into place as like, oh my gosh, that's it. That is brilliant. Well done. Okay. Anyway, more of the chat here. Kimberly Grubb. Take out all those that are repeating. I feel like even if you take out the things that are repeating, it still makes the same sense as when you read it straight through. It doesn't feel like there are extraneous words that are just crammed into the middle of sentences or something like that might make their own sentence when removed or something. But that's cool. Jen, thinking out loud-ish, the cave thing with the... Huh? The cave thing with the lacrimal gland. Lacrimosa weeping, so again, eyes. Sight. Golden ratio. Seeing in a metaphorical sense? Maybe. I do think that there is some form of, I don't know if the golden ratio, this is an interesting thing actually, does the golden ratio, outside of just being a mathematical basis for I mean all forms of life, right? I mean, I'm probably sounding very modern jackass right now. Let me look up the golden ratio. I wonder if there is a more ethereal meaning behind it. Let's see. Oh man, we're going to get difficult right away. In mathematics, two quantities are in the golden ratio if their ratio is the same as the ratio of their sum to the larger of the two quantities. Got it. Thank you. Applications and observations. Let's do that instead. What would he be into? Aesthetics, architecture, painting, book design, music, nature, optimization, perceptual studies. Let's stay away from flat-out mathematics. I think that John William James would be more intrigued by the actual beauty of the golden ratio here. And I think maybe the actual functionality of it, but let's see. De Divina Proportione, which is a 3-volume work by Luca Pacioli, published in 1509, explored the mathematics of the golden ratio. Though it is often said that Pacioli advocated the golden ratio's application to yield pleasing, harmonious proportions, Livio points out that the interpretation has been traced to an error in 1799. Okay, so, all right, whatever, then that's not what he meant. The Parthenon, that's cool. The Parthenon's facade, as well as elements of its facade and elsewhere, are said by some to be circumscribed by golden rectangles. Other scholars deny that the Greeks had any aesthetic association with the golden ratio. So, yeah, I don't know. I want something that's far more metaphorical or philosophical about the golden ratio, you know? Photographers and artists use it in compositions. Yeah, Christy Spinks, don't worry. We're going to avoid math. I used to be really, really good at it. I am not anymore. Some sources claim the golden ratio is commonly used in everyday design. For example, in the shapes of postcards, playing cards, posters, widescreen televisions, photographs, light switch plates, and cards. Well, all right, let's jump to what I think we're supposed to use it for. I'm sure he's obsessed with it for John William James reasons, right? Why wouldn't he be? But here's what I think we might be able to put it to use to do. One of the things that I have not gotten to yet in talking about this box is we have this page that has a wolf surrounded by a bunch of different, symbols. I looked at it and I was like, okay, so we're going to have to decode another sentence or something. And I looked at this one here, this X in a box, and I was like, oh, cool. That's a wing ding. I know my wing dings. This will be, a snap. And I was wrong. So instead, a theory that I came up with, too late to be able to prepare it ahead of time, was the following. Let's take our wolf card. I'm going to put it in an image here that we can use real quick before I reveal it to everybody's eager eyes. And I already know the obvious reason why this won't work, but I do want to try it. People that watch my Hunt a Killer videos, I get, tons of comments on older videos, which I love, because I've been doing this for a year now. Everything is posted on the TalkBomb YouTube page. If you go to youtube.com/TalkBomb or just look it up in the YouTube app, you'll find everything. People commonly will post saying that there is something I missed. They're watching an old video and I completely overlooked something. That will always be the case. I never claimed to be the greatest detective in the world. I am the greatest detective in the world, but I never claimed to be. So, the best I can do is try out my theories. I feel like that is the only thing that I can do is just try, make attempts. So let's try something weird here and now. Copy, paste. Okay. Duplicate, delete a thing, and let's do this. So let's try something that I think I'm going to be proven wrong about in 5 seconds. Here we have our wolf. Yes? Yes. The wolf is surrounded by all of these different symbols. Before you ask, I already looked up, is this the constellation? I looked up whether or not this was the Lupus constellation. I'm going to say the jury's out because all of the depictions of the wolf constellation have him standing. This wolf appears to be in mid-leap or attacking. The fact that he's got no eyes, something's off. It definitely, obviously, especially with these specks around him, it it conjures the idea of a constellation. However, I'm not confident about that. What I am confident about is we have 25 symbols all around him. I believe them to be from different sort of alphabets with different sorts of purposes. Trying to translate them was intensely problematic. I already tried to use Adobe Acrobat to what is the word? To locate text on the page. Literally, it's just supposed to identify text. So I figured maybe it had a font library that it could say, yeah, that's a wing ding. That's from, some non-English alphabet. Most of them are from a non-English alphabet of some sort. And then I could at least copy and paste the text and start trying to translate from there. Because frankly, all we have is an image, which makes it so much harder to try to translate this stuff. Then I literally went through, I'm just going to show you guys some of the stuff that I do. Because I've also gotten comments on my previous videos that I don't try hard. And I feel like that's the most solid condemnation of my stupidity possible, because I try pretty hard and maybe I just have bad ideas. But I took out every single symbol and made it its own image file so that I could try to do like Google image searches and figure out what the hell am I looking at. And it hasn't really worked. I may have something for this one, but I'm not sure. And I also just put them flat out on a page so that I could try to do the text thing again, or I don't know, just try to get something else out of it. Anyway, all that to say, I have puzzled over this and come up with no solutions. But the thing I thought about and decided, hey, why not try it live on the internet to show everybody my dumb theory that won't work, is John William James's this month obsession with the golden ratio. Why the necklace? Why the whispers from Theodorus? Obsessing over the idea of the golden ratio. He was trying to tell us something. We can't do anything with this. There's literally this necklace. But maybe we can do something with the concept of it. Maybe if we overlay the golden ratio on the wolf, the line might go through some of the symbols that we need. Crazy? It would eliminate going from 25 symbols that we needed to code down to but a few. The obvious problem is that I can resize this as much as I want. I can change the size of the golden ratio to suit my own needs. So if I were to do this, would I be coming up with anything of use? Or would I be contriving a solution? Let's find out. I can already tell you, looking at this, that this wolf is printed on an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. That's a standard, legal? Is it legal or letter? I always forget. Piece of paper, like you would have in any printer here in the US. I guess that piece of paper doesn't adhere to the golden ratio because this golden ratio image I can't accurately size to the sheet. But, I mean, who knows? So I can try to center it as much as possible. I can change the size a little bit, but you can see the more I change the size, the line goes through different symbols. So I'm going to call this theory already busted, but I'm glad I tried it. I didn't even think about it until just before going live. I don't know. Just Stokes. I had to Google occult alphabets and still didn't get them all. Did you get some? Because I tried Googling stuff that just like, I would try to describe what one of the icons looks like and come up with nothing because I'd be Googling like a T with 3 lines, and I literally started getting advice for getting a T-Mobile contract. I guess let's just like take one at random. Let me see what I can do quickly here. Because I just, there's so much data that I don't even know where to start. I started, here, take a look at, let's go with this one. You can do Google image searches, which will call up any related images, and I thought maybe if I did that, I'd find a matching image. This is what I got. I actually got conflicting results. I searched for this twice, and once I got nothing, and once I got information about Lucifer. So, all right, whatever. Let's see. Loki symbol tattoo. So is this the symbol for Loki? The sigil of Lucifer. All right. Let's get on the FBI watch list. The sigil of Lucifer. Yeah, the sigil of Whoa! Whoa! The Google Play icon is the sigil of Lucifer? My God! Well, then maybe this doesn't mean anything. This can't easily translate into... I thought this might translate into, like, that's an M. That means M. Is this a hidden message? What is this? Is this somehow just a bizarre, like, dark obsession with wolves? Is this Aaron DeVale? Who sent us this? I don't know if this is a John William James thing, a Talaria thing, an Aaron DeVale thing. I'm completely puzzled. I feel like I've seen these double M's before. I don't think it means Moon Man. That's a callback. This looks like a Harry Potter M. Some of the fonts match. Like, I feel like this 3-looking thing, this M, this U, and this other U? Maybe it's an Omega symbol upside down. I feel like they're from the same font. You know, I feel like they're from the same font family. This little Qbert guy down here, and this O with the line through it, and something else. Oh, the Y up here. I feel like those are from the same, like, font or world or alphabet or language. But I'm stumped as Gump. Does anyone say that phrase? I'm as stumped as Forrest Gump. I'm sorry, I made myself laugh at that. I'm as stumped as Gump is a great phrase. And I bet you know what? I'm going to make another declaration. I'm the best detective in the world, even though I'm almost in tears talking about this wolf thing. And I invented the phrase, I'm as stumped as Gump. Forrest Gump is frequently stumped in that movie, right? I think this could become a thing. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I'll try to get it together here. Okay. Oh, my gosh. All right. Let's go to the chat. Just Ox, I don't remember if I read this yet. Maybe coordinates to find him. Can you use? I don't know if you can use the golden ratio as coordinates, though. That's a cool idea. I don't even know where to start. Jen Jack, wolf has no eyes. Pig's eye. What was the image with the dragon that plucked out the eyes and buried them to make soldiers? I think it was. Is that from season 1, episode 2, the Cadmus? The dragon that ate Cadmus? I don't know. Will, have you tried flipping the picture 180 degrees? The thing is, I think regardless of whether or not I flip it, here we go, get it back. The fact is that the scale is completely negotiable, you know? So, like, I could flip it and turn it this way and it would go through some symbols, but what size? I guess you could make the argument, right, that the golden ratio... Oh! The golden ratio doesn't change as a spiral. So no matter what size, it's always the right ratio. No. Am I talking myself out of this? Sorry. Okay. I don't mean to go lost in thought. Hold on. Let me go down another rabbit hole that may be dumb. Let me put this dead center. No. Even damn it. Yeah, no. The size of it is super important. Super important. Yeah, if I put this dead center and change the size, it either goes through barely any of the symbols or a bunch of them. It all depends on the scale. If I flip it, if I turn it upside down, if I flip it horizontal left to right, doesn't matter. We have a problem with scale, I think. Anyway, Kimberly Grubb, remind me, do we have any images to date of eyes? I don't know. I don't know. This maybe feels like a John William James thing because the wolf is blind, just like Aaron DeVale, who we associate with the wolf. He has a picture of himself with his dog on the Listening Friends of America Facebook page. He is blinded maybe by his lust for power, his greed, something like that. I don't know. The T with 3 lines looks like the Chinese alphabet, as does another one of them. Yeah, the other one that looks like it is this. Bottom right-hand side, these stacked boxes. For an interesting reason, I just had occasion to learn a little bit of Chinese, and I already forgot what that means. But I think it is Chinese. Yes, of course, it's always the same ratio. Yeah, I had a total brain fart there. It's always the same ratio, and for a moment I thought that was like the Rosetta Stone to unlocking what this means, but no, the size matters. Maybe line the smallest square up with the missing eye. All right. It's not a bad idea. Let's see. We can see what happens. The thing is, like, again, though, like if I change any of this, right? Like, so you see, like, this is a good example of it. Is if I line the square up, if I keep it like this, then the line goes through literally nothing. It goes between this like Saturn thing and the 2 triangles. If I change the size, if I make it a little bit bigger, we put the teeny tiny square here, well, then you could maybe make the argument that it starts to go through this T, but I mean, not really. Like, it's all relative. It's all relative. Now the line goes through this thing here. So I'm not convinced. I don't know what it means. Like, I still feel like maybe it's about translating the symbols and figuring out what the message is that goes around this thing. Like, now we know that down here, this is the sigil of Lucifer. I mean, some of you already knew that, obviously. Now I know that, like, for sure. But, all right, like, what do I derive from that? Like, it makes me honestly think that some of the other symbols around here are just indicative of good or evil. I don't know. It's a stab in the dark. I'm kind of lost. I'm kind of lost on this. I feel for sure like it's not good. To put it bluntly, I feel like this is part of some sort of battle that's coming. John William James's obsession with the golden ratio, Aaron DeVale's obsession with John William James, and getting all of the beloved Johns 6 feet underground is not good. I think that something's going to happen. And I think especially now that we know about some of the members of Talaria, maybe next month we're going to get a revised list where a bunch of these people are no longer listed as active. I think maybe this is some sort of a war. He's talking about an army. I don't know. It feels like it makes sense, which isn't the same as it being true, but it is what I'm sensing. I also don't want to forget that there was a mention made at the beginning of this season that John William James said one of the things he gave us in a previous episode was a somewhat understated object that may in fact be one of the most important things he has ever given us. And I don't feel like I really have a beat on what that is, but maybe this will come into play when we eventually figure it out. Oh my gosh, you guys. I follow the golden ratio. Truly beautiful man. All right, one last look at the chat, and I think we're going to call it quits for this month of Hunter-Killer. There's another thing that uses the ratio as well that involves mapping. Ooh, maybe. What if this is one of those things that we get the key to later? That's what I'm kind of thinking. Or it's maybe it's that whatever he sent us that's important that we didn't realize was as important as it is. I don't know. I can't say it any clearer than that. All right, you guys. I think I'm going to call it quits for this episode of Hunt-A-Killer, Season 2, Episode 5. Go out there. Go, my friends. Tune in to Behind True Crime with CWS. Check out the episode in particular with my sister Kristen. I thought it was a very interesting conversation. CWS is becoming a really a good friend of ours, has been for a while. We've been talking to her for a long time. If you watched my old Hunt-A-Killer show, The Haunted Hunt, I almost forgot the name of my own show. I did at least one interview with CWS, which I loved. And so it's no surprise that her show is as good as it is. Also check out Guide to the Unknown, my brand new horror podcast. If you like monsters, if you like me, you're going to want to tune in to that. My sister and I, every Friday, sharing stories of scary old monsters out there on the internet. Get it on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Google Play Music, and YouTube. You can watch us, and I put some visual gags in the episodes. Find all links at talkbomb.com/GTTU pod. You can also follow me online. I'm at Haunted Sponge on Twitter and Instagram. And thank you guys so much for tuning in. I really appreciate it. Jen, Jess, Kimberly, I'm slightly sick. Charles, thank you again for the Hunt-A-Killer box. You can see that his wife put November 16 on the side, the month that I first signed up for Hunt-A-Killer. It's amazing, and I'm going to be putting all of my Hunt-A-Killer artifacts in it. It's exactly what I need. So I will see you guys in the future. Keep your eyes peeled. I have a lot of Hunt-A-Killer stuff on the way, and Empty Faces, whatever that paranormal box is going to be. There's a lot coming. I got a lot of work to do. Now get out of my face. I'll see you in the future. But until that time comes, happy hunting. I almost lost my voice, I think.